Hello, so it's Tuesday the 18th of May and it's been, I think it's 9 days since the last inspection. We're just going to go in today to check on the bee's progress. Last time, if you remember, we found that there was one just started queen cell, so there is a chance that we will find more today. And also the temper of the bees is a little bit of a concern, but as you can see, they're not bothering me at the moment. It's just a matter of how they will react when we go in. It's a massive colony of bees, the biggest colony we have, but it was picked at random just because of its location. But if we do need to do something regarding the temper, this is a live project of looking at what you would really do in the real world. So the fact that we might have this issue is probably good, because it shows you that if you do have this problem, what we need to do. And it would be the same for anybody with a single colony. What do you do if your single colony has got a problem? Well, you're going to need to get some outside resources. We're going to build up to the point where we don't need outside resources, or at least not very often, but with a limited number of colonies, i.e. one at the moment, there's a limited amount that you can do. But today I'm going to get my hood up and we'll get looking at this colony. Make sure it's focused again. Last time, two of the supers were pretty full, and most of the supers were full of bees. And this first one here is full of honey, or at least half full. And the further up you get, the more difficult it is to lift off. That's very heavy, that's absolutely full. The bottom two supers last time we looked weren't particularly heavy, but if you remember, we'd added empty supers at the bottom rather than the top. Another heavy super. One of the aims of this project was to get an above average honey crop, and to do that we're allowing the colony to grow as much as it wants to the point of swarming, so that we do maximise the honey. So this colony is absolutely rammed with bees. So this one's a bit lighter. But every layer is full of bees. Right, so I'm just going to spray the sides, and I think when you've seen the bees flying around at the moment, they're actually pretty good today. round the front you've got a lot of bees that are just orienting, so it's important when you're assessing temper to be aware that some of the activity is just the bees' normal behaviour. We've got loads of bees returning from forage, but at the moment there's very few bees that are at all interested in me, which is good. So dummy board. Okay, looks like there might be a queen cell on the other side. Let's see if it's charged. There's a queen cup there. Something looks a bit more like a queen cell. We've got here a queen cell with an egg in it. So, as Wally Shaw would say, that's kind of like an Amber Alert. We're also filming in a sunny spell. It was raining a few minutes ago. So there's a little queen cell that's been started just down the side here. I shall just open it and see if there's anything in there. Those are the sort of, there's no egg or anything in there, so that's absolutely fine. And also the first thing to check when you're opening up the hive is looking for eggs, and there are eggs that are standing perpendicular, so I would expect the queen to be here. So again, lots of sealed brood. When we do come to split, we won't be short of bees, that's for sure. But we're 3 frames in and there's I would have expected to see signs of swarming by now, but we will just check the rest. The bees are being well behaved. There's sealed brood and the very young larvae. The brood pattern is good. And no signs of any disease at the moment. The queen in this colony is marked and clipped. I can just see here a single cell of sac brood, looking at the health of the colony. Actually there, where my thumb is, you can also see the beginnings of some horse chestnut pollen coming in, the purple. We've got a horse chestnut tree just in front of us, which is like a whole field of flowers and be feeding the bees. Sorry, I didn't get the sac brood in. Where were we? So there, just at the end of my thumb, where the bees will allow, there's the Persian slipper type thing, but the odd cell is absolutely nothing to worry about. The colony should throw it off over the season. When you see 1 or 2 or something, it's rarely something to be concerned about, but when you start to see several, you need to take note and consider what you're going to do. it's also, you know, when you've got Anuka bees, they'll almost always seem calm. But if you ever do get an angry Nuka bees, then it's usually not worth letting them grow into a big angry colony. So I've got just a queen cup at the bottom here, acorn shaped with an egg in it. Quite a few of the bees, I've got a pale yellow pollen, which could be oilseed rape, although they've got to fly a distance for that of about a mile. It's certainly within where they would fly, but say the horse chestnut trees are even closer. So again, even though we've got, you know, there must be over 100,000 bees in this colony. We've also got about another 50,000 in the brood box waiting to emerge. These are absolutely fine. If you notice, these bees are just on top of the frames, which is what you ideally want. While temper can be affected by conditions, state of flow, the weather, a good colony usually stays good. We've got one charged queen cell here and an egg. And a second one, which I'm just going to put down. I'm kind of safe to do this simply because the queen is clipped, so whatever the bees do try to do, as long as I've got the queen cells today that could turn into queens, it gives us 11 days to resolve it. If the colony does try to swarm, they'll realise the queen can't fly, and the bees will come back. But then they will want to swarm once the first virgin emerges. I'm just going to get these bees down, so I'm just going to go through it and shake every frame to make sure there is no queen cells. In fact, I'll just take out this frame to allow us to do that. There's a bit more room. This is our frame of drones. So we'll just go back through the colony. To make sure I've got all the queen cells. It's difficult to decide what to do exactly when you've got one or two queen cells, because as you can see, what was it, 8 days ago there was one queen cell started, and today there are two. If you listen to the books, we should have expected the colony to be completely full of queen cells. And so in order to maximise the honey, I want to keep this colony together as long as we can. One of the key things to look out for is the queen cells that the bees build on the outside, because they can be very difficult to spot. They look like they're part of the comb, so they're kind of camouflaged. The bees have been very good, despite the fact that I'm shaking the bees into the bottom. It kind of alleviates some of the concerns that I had from our last visit. It's just a cup. And also I'm safe in knocking down these queen cells. A, because I know that the colony can't swarm for at least 12 days. Also I've seen eggs, so that if the bees do want to make more, they've got the ability to do so. It's one of the most important things about seeing eggs, is it's going to affect your decision making. So we're currently we've gone from amber alert to an orange alert, and once we see multiples of queen cells, then we'll perform swarm control. Okay, so we've got the queen here with her blue spots. And again, she's going about her business. Before I picked the frame up, well, when I picked the frame up, she was still looking in cells. I'm just going to pick the queen up. The bees do sometimes get a bit agitated when you pick up the frame with the queen on. Just wait till the queen's walking away from me. I picked her up by her wings. I'm just going to pop her down on a frame, and she's gone down, so I'm not shaking her. Having said that, I put her on the frame that I was going to shake next. This frame is almost entirely drones. The drones want to be at the edge of the colony. So rather than shake this, I'm just going to blow the frames. Well, I would expect any queen cells to be. This blowing is something that can agitate the bees, but they're perfectly good. that cell that I saw before, didn't quite get the egg. Okay, so I think we're good for another 10-11 days. Although, if the weather allows, please don't want to move out the way, but I don't want to. You put your hive tool in gently, the bees will move out of the way of the metal, and then when I'm moving frames in this direction, I get most leverage when I put it against the Hoffman bar and then just use it as a lever to get frames moved. Because all these frames are touching, I know there are no bees in between that might get squashed. My drone comb goes in 2 from the entrance, and I'm just going to give the bees a bit of a puff here so I can get the hive tool in a bit easier. I'm doing the same, we're just going to slowly move it so that any bees in the way get out of the way. That's if you don't get the frames nice and tight, the bees will build brace comb and you can't hold bees drawn straight. So, as I say, I use that way to loosen it because I get lots of gentle leverage. When you crack the frames open, that can agitate the bees. Fantastic. So, some feed off the edge. And I'm just going to nudge them out of the way. And I'll leave the video there for today. What I am going to do when I put the frames back is I'm just going to juggle the frames about a bit, because what the bees have done is they've filled the frames in the middle, so what I'm going to do is just move the outside frames in to encourage them to fill those. And there's probably you know, at least 4 supers absolutely full of honey and a couple not. So I'm just going to move the frames from the outside. It is one of the downsides of putting supers on early, but I believe it's worthwhile in swarm prevention. But I am now going to just juggle the frames about to move the outside frames that are filled into the middle. So I'll see you next time.